rusted gates of Joyland. They groaned like some dying beast as I pushed them open, just enough to slip through. That archway, once vibrant, now peeling and faded, still had the gall to proclaim, "Joyland, where dreams come true." The letters were mocking me, I swear. At 57, my own dreams had soured long ago. A grim irony, that slogan. I wasn't looking for joy. I was looking for silence. A place where the ghosts of my own past might finally quiet down, maybe get drowned out by the echoes of someone else's memories. The park. It was a skeleton. The grand carousel, its painted horses frozen mid-gallop, draped in cobwebs that shimmered like some ghastly decoration in the weak moonlight. The Ferris wheel, a stark silhouette against the bruised twilight sky, its cabins swaying gently in the evening breeze, creaking out a mournful lullaby. Overgrown weeds choked every pathway. The air hung thick with the scent of decay, damp earth, and something else. A faint, cloying sweetness like cotton candy left to rot. My first week was a blur of routine patrols. Armed with a heavy-duty flashlight and a set of jangling keys, I walked those deserted pathways. The crunch of my boots on gravel was the only sound to break the oppressive stillness. Just me and the quiet. I checked the main buildings, the boarded-up arcade, the silent theater, the funhouse, its grinning facade looking more menacing than inviting in the dark. I'd note the scurrying of rats, the hoot of an owl, the way the wind whistled through broken window panes. Mundane, predictable, exactly what I'd hoped for. It was my third night near the carousel when my flashlight beam caught something small and pale nestled in the overgrown grass. A dollar. Its porcelain face was cracked, one button eye missing. It wore a faded, once blue dress. I picked it up. A strange pang of unease prickled my skin. It felt cold. Unnaturally so. I tossed it into a nearby bin, tried to dismiss the feeling. Just an old toy, I told myself, forgotten like everything else in this godforsaken place. The following nights, the park, it began to change. It wasn't so benign anymore, it started subtly. A whisper on the wind that sounded almost like a child's giggle. The distant, tinny music of the carousel, so faint I thought I was imagining it. Shadows. Shadows that danced at the edge of my vision, always vanishing when I turned my light towards them. Then I saw her. A flicker of white by the carousel. A small girl, couldn't have been older than 7 or 8, with long dark hair and a simple white dress. She was there for a moment, her back to me. Then she was gone. My heart hammered against my ribs. I swept my flashlight beam across the area, called out, whisper, "Hello? Anyone there?" Nothing, just the creaking of those damned carousel horses. I told myself it was a trick of the light, my tired old mind playing games on me. But she appeared again. Near the funhouse this time, her small hand resting on the peeling paint of its alluring entrance. This time she turned, and for a fleeting second I saw her face. Pale, with large, dark eyes that seemed to hold a sorrow older than time itself. Then, like smoke, she vanished. The strange happenings, they escalated. Doors I was sure I'd locked, I'd find ajar. The lights in the arcade would flicker on and off, even though I knew the main power to that section was supposed to be dead. I started finding more toys, a small wooden horse, a set of tarnished jacks, a child's drawing of a smiling sun, rendered in crude crayon, tucked beneath the operator's booth of the Ferris wheel. Each discovery amplified the sense that I wasn't alone here, that some unseen presence lingered. Driven by a gnawing curiosity that was fast overpowering my skepticism and my desire for peace and quiet, I started exploring the park's old administration office during the daylight hours before my shift. Rummaging through dusty, rodent-chewed files, I found a box of old newspaper clippings. One, dated over 30 years ago, caught my eye. Tragedy at Joyland. Young girl dies in carousel accident. The article was brief. Mentioned a girl named Lily who had fallen from one of the carousel horses. The park's popularity had dwindled after that, it said, eventually leading to its closure a few years later. A faded photograph accompanied the text. A smiling girl with dark hair and a white dress. It was her, the girl I'd been seeing, that park mascot. A 7-foot-tall bear they called Mr. Smiles. It had always unsettled me. Its fixed, painted grin and wide, glassy eyes seemed to follow me on my rounds. Now, knowing about Lily, Mr. Smiles took on a far more sinister aspect in my mind. One night, I found the mascot in a different position than I'd left it. Its head was tilted slightly, its smile wider, more predatory. I was certain I hadn't touched it. The air around it felt colder, charged with a malevolent energy I couldn't explain. A storm rolled in on my second Saturday shift. A tempest that mirrored the turmoil brewing within Joyland's decaying heart. Rain lashed down, turning the pathways into muddy streams. Thunder cracked overhead, each peal like the roar of an angry god, and lightning. Lightning illuminated the park in brief, terrifying flashes, transforming familiar shapes into monstrous silhouettes right before my eyes. The main power line to my security office sputtered and died, plunged me into near-total darkness, save for the erratic beam of my flashlight. The wind howled through the broken structures, carrying with it a chorus of whispers, moans, and what sounded like a child's frightened sobs. The park was alive, I tell you, and it was furious. I was in the central plaza when I saw Lily again. She stood by the silent fountain, drenched and shivering, her small face a mask of terror. This time, she didn't vanish. She looked directly at me, her dark eyes pleading. Then she raised a trembling hand and pointed towards the old maintenance workshop, a dilapidated building at the far edge of the park I rarely visited. As I approached the workshop, the oppressive atmosphere intensified. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of rust, oil, and something else. Something metallic and sickeningly sweet. The door was ajar. I pushed it open, my flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. The workshop was a chaotic mess. Discarded tools, broken ride components, cobweb-laden machinery. But in the far corner, half hidden behind a stack of rotting wooden crates, was another door. One I hadn't noticed on the park schematics. It was old, made of heavy, dark wood, with a strange symbol carved into it. A spiral with an eye at its center. With a surge of adrenaline-fueled dread, I forced the door open. It led to a small, windowless room. The air inside was frigid, and the stench, it was overwhelming. In the center of the room, chalked onto the dusty concrete floor, was a complex, disturbing symbol, similar to the one on the door but larger, more intricate. And scattered around it were more dolls, old photographs of children, including Lily, and what looked like dried, dark stains on the floor. Suddenly, a guttural growl echoed from the shadows behind me. I spun around. Mr. Smiles. It stood in the doorway of the workshop, but it was no longer just a statue. Its glassy eyes, they glowed with a faint red light. Its painted smile was stretched into a horrifying rictus, revealing rows of what looked like sharpened, yellowed teeth. It moved. Not with the jerky motions of an animatronic, but with a terrifying, fluid grace. This wasn't just Lily's sorrow haunting the park. This was something older, darker, something that had fed on the park's manufactured joy and twisted it into a source of malevolent power. Lily, she was a victim, trapped by it, perhaps even used by it. Mr. Smiles lunged. I stumbled back, my flashlight clattering to the floor, plunging the room into near darkness, save for the creature's glowing eyes. I scrambled, my hands searching for a weapon. Anything. My fingers closed around a heavy iron crowbar. The fight, it was desperate. The creature was immensely strong, its movements unnervingly fast. It swiped at me with those oversized paws, its claws leaving deep gouges in the wooden crates. I swung the crowbar wildly, felt it connect with a sickening thud against the creature's side. It roared, a sound that was both animalistic and mechanical. I had to get out, had to help Lily if I could. I remembered that old newspaper article, the vague mentions of the park's original owner, a reclusive man with an interest in the occult. This room, this ritual, it had to be his doing. Lily was just one of his victims. I dodged another swipe, the creature's fetid breath hot on my face. Then I saw it in an old rusted fuel can in the corner. An idea, desperate and dangerous, sparked in my mind. I kicked over a stack of crates trying to distract the thing, then scrambled for the can. It was half full. With a roar of my own, a sound I didn't recognize coming from me, I hurled the can at Mr. Smiles. It struck the creature's chest, dousing it in gasoline. I fumbled for my lighter, my hands shaking. The creature advanced, its red eyes burning with rage. Just as it reached me, I flicked the lighter. The spark caught. Mr. Smiles erupted in flames. Its horrifying shriek was swallowed by the roar of the fire. The fire spread quickly through the dry, decaying contents of that workshop. I stumbled out, choking on the smoke, the heat scorching my back. I saw Lily. She was standing by the workshop door, no longer looking terrified, but with a faint, sad smile on her face. As the flames consumed the building and the dark symbols within, her image began to fade, becoming translucent until she was gone. The storm began to subside as dawn approached. The rain softened to a drizzle, and the first gray light of morning painted the sky. I stood there, bruised, battered, and covered in soot, and watched the workshop burn. The flames felt like a cleansing pyre against the somber backdrop of the dying night. When the authorities arrived, summoned by the smoke, I told them what I could. A fire? An accident? I didn't mention Lily or Mr. Smiles or that hidden room. They wouldn't have believed me. Who would? But I knew I had to find a way to bring the truth about Lily's death, and perhaps others, to light. I remembered that box of files in the administration office. Perhaps there was more evidence there, something that would point to the park owner's dark secrets. In the weeks that followed, with the help of a local investigative journalist I cautiously contacted, I managed to piece together more of Joyland's sordid history. The original owner had indeed been involved in dark rituals, and Lily wasn't his only victim. The story, when it finally broke, caused a local sensation. The park was officially condemned, its remaining structures torn down, the land consecrated. I never returned to Joyland. I left that town, sought a new, quieter life, far from the echoes of manufactured joy and real despair. The nightmares. They didn't vanish entirely, but they lessened. I had faced the darkness, not just in that abandoned park, but within myself, I suppose. And I found a measure of peace in bringing a long-buried truth to light. Sometimes on quiet nights, when the wind whistles just so, I still think of Joyland. I remember the chilling silence, the ghostly laughter, the terrifying grin of Mr. Smiles. And I wonder if all the ghosts had truly left. Because even when the structures are gone and the land is cleansed, some places, like some memories, remain haunted. Their stories whispered on the wind, for those willing or unfortunate enough to listen.